For the first 16 years of my life, I was dueling an unknown enemy, aimlessly swinging in the dark for some sort of answer. On occasion, my sword would land, signaling that I'd made a mark on this nameless foe with invisible wounds. Until one day in high school, a foe bore its name that I could finally understand: gender dysphoria. I began my life as the youngest daughter, pushed into a box filled with norms and expectations of femininity as an up and coming Korean woman. It began with dolls and dresses and soon seeped into many dimensions of my life. I was forced into conformity, with my individuality muffled by silent societal standards based on my gender at birth, leaving me to rummage in the dark for any sort of foothold in self expression going against the current. My first foothold was with my hair. When I was younger, I had the classic bowl cut, and I loved it. It was short, and no one really knew whether I was a boy or a girl. And as a kid, I lived for that confusion and that lack of fixation on who I should be. However, that was short-lived, as I was forced to grow out my hair. As my gender obscurity faded, my distaste for my hair was silenced by its length as it went past my shoulders and then my waist. And by the time I was in high school, my long, luscious locks of hair, one of the greatest symbols of femininity, was the envy of everyone around me. I, on the other hand, waged a new battle. I had no interest in twisting it into intricate braids when a ponytail could get out of the way just fine. But soon, I wanted that ponytail out of my way too. And one day, on the way home from the dentist, I casually brought up to my mother that I wanted to cut my hair short. How short? Short? Well, how many inches? Many. Your hair has to be at least 4 inches. What? Why? My mother was perplexed. It was as if I was challenging her values. Long, gorgeous hair was of great pride for a Korean woman, and my mother was baffled by my desire to get rid of it all. And so we sparred, oil and water, marked by tears and the pain of being denied and denying those you love. To her displeasure, though, I won that battle, and it was a glimpse of light in a long, dark tunnel with no end in sight. After finding liberation there, I found the fresh laundry smell of masculinity in what my dad knew as a sports bra. For me, though, it was a binder, a garment used to flatten my chest. In obscuring this traditional symbol of femininity, I realized something. I realized that I was comfortable in being me at long last. However, the sudden tonal shift in gender expression left my parents confused, who then proceeded to lash out in arguments, now hours of tension, both hot in the heat of the moment and cold in the aftermath. They would ask me questions that I knew the answers to, but couldn't articulate back in Korean. At the time, language was a huge wall between me, the American-born Korean, and my parents, the Korean-born Americans that could not understand my broken Korean. So, what's the benefits of being a lesbian? Well, I'm not a lesbian. Well, okay, then what are you? I knew the answer and just wanted to scream. But to them, I was still their 막내딸, their youngest daughter. I'm not your youngest daughter anymore. Transgender was a word invented long after their departure from the motherland in 1997. The very language and culture that had kept us together soon drove us apart. I was labeled as being too American and was left to my own devices, spiraling in depression and anxiety. Soon came college, though, where I moved my home from California, my home for 18 years, 2 states north to Seattle, Washington. With no one to choose my new clothes or my meals, I found myself understanding more about myself and how I wanted to express myself to the world. So I secretly attempted to start hormone therapy, but stopped after wanting to be more honest to my parents about this big of a life change. Tom's surgery, however, was a smaller life change, and in the summer of 2018, I received my best gift to myself on a surgeon's table in Seoul, South Korea. But my parents just didn't know, that is, until one day, my mother and I went on vacation to the city of Busan and relaxed at a spa, completely naked. She noticed that my chest was smaller and began lecturing me on how harmful hormone pills can be and how awful it is that I did all these things. Mom, I had surgery. From then on, conversations about transness mostly started with a sudden confession. Is this foolish? Some might say maybe, but that's fair. Before I was born, I was given my Korean name, Hyunu, by a Buddhist monk. The first character, Hyun, symbolizes the darkness of my life, while the second, Woo, symbolizes the immaturity and foolishness that can help ease its burden. Glimpses of light soon became rays that flooded this darkened tunnel, with moments of gender euphoria brightening the way, giving me confidence to confess to my parents. Oh yeah, my legal name is Jaximus, by the way. Oh, well, we're trained for this moment, I suppose. At this point, my parents are probably more worried about me getting a tattoo than this taboo. I still live in the same tunnel as my taboo, though. And for the longest time, my transit did not have a name, but now he's called non binary, and my parents call him child. And finally, after so long, the duel has been resolved. I can now drop my sword, hold him in my arms, say my thanks, and call him mine. My identity, my transness, and me, my being.